Hi, I'm Danny, and this is my 10-month update on my Zepbound weight loss. It's been a long time, so I have a lot of experience with this. Before these 10 months, I also took Mounjaro for a bunch of months, maybe like 7. I lost a ton of weight on it and I gained some of it back. So today I'm going to share with you all this information that I wish somebody told me and all the stuff that I want you to avoid so that your experience can be easier than mine. I lost a total of 60 pounds on both Zepbound and Mounjaro. So I started with 200 pounds and now I'm around 140. Before I started on the medication, it was really hard to lose weight. I gained my weight during the pandemic and it just came to stay. It would not leave no matter what I did. I went to the gym, I was on a diet. It was really hard to stay on a diet because my habits were completely messed up. During the pandemic, I was just eating and eating anything I wanted. I was bored and there was nothing else to do than just eat and drink and enjoy my time indoors. So I gained all this weight and it was very difficult to go back on a healthy lifestyle, which is what I had before the pandemic. After trying diet and exercise and failing miserably, I had the brilliant idea to try a GLP-1. Mounjaro was just on the market. It just came out. I was able to get it and I was able to get it for cheap. They had a discount. I think it was like $25, which now I think it's insane because I pay so much more for Zepbound. The experience with Mounjaro and Zepbound, obviously, they're the same drug, but they were the same, even though, the second time around, I already knew what to expect. In the beginning, on the first week, I had the side effects. I had the sulfur burps, which are kind of annoying. It's kind of gross. It just feels like you have food rotting inside of you. And I also had to learn what worked for me and what didn't. The first time around when I did it, I think it was 2023. It was a little bit more difficult in that aspect because I didn't really know that if I ate something that had a lot of fat in it, I would feel sick, or that if I overate, I would feel extremely sick. That first time was a little bit harder on that point. But this time also, I didn't remember everything, right? So I didn't really keep note of the things that worked and didn't for me. This time around, I did this a little bit differently and I wrote down, like if I feel sick, what did I eat last night? Or what did I eat in the morning before I felt sick? So now I know the major culprits of my sickness. I don't get really diarrhea. I did get constipation the first time, but what I get is acid reflux and I feel like my food is just stuck over here and I can't eat and I can't even think about food if I eat too much or I eat something that I shouldn't. So here goes my first advice to you if you're starting, even if you're already taking it and you're a seasoned GLP-1 user. If you have these side effects, it's good to keep a journal. You don't have to write everything you eat because that's a little bit too intense. But every time you have strong side effects, you should think about what caused them and you should write them down because you're going to forget. For me, it was pizza and not just pizza. There are other things that cause it. It usually is fat. Last night, my husband was cooking and we were making steak. And I told him, I was like, I cannot have tons of fat. So for me, the steak goes steak on the cast iron, that's it. And I'm seeing him like melting this cup of butter and then he's pouring tons of olive oil on the skillet, and I'm like, "Dude, no, I'm gonna have to cook my steak on a separate pan because this is just it won't work for me. I'm gonna feel sick all night." He did have his steak with butter, and I did have my steak without it. It was great, and I didn't feel bad afterwards. So these are the decisions that you have to make so that you don't have these side effects. And I don't know if you guys know, but there is a big drop rate on GLP-1s because people have these side effects and they think it's just the way that the drug is. They think that for the whole duration of their treatment, they're going to experience this. And that's not true. My mom just started on Wegovy and she was calling me and I told her, I was like, Mom, if you have any questions, just ask me. I've been on this for so long. I'm not a doctor, obviously, but I feel like I know how it works and how to get the best out of it. So she called me and it was her first dose and she was like, "This is horrible. I feel acid and I can't think about eating. And I told her, I was like, Mom, this is just your first week. Your body needs to adjust. I told her my non professional recommendation is that you watch what you eat and you don't start jumping doses because that will make it hard. It will continue to be hard if your body never adjusts. So in my case, I stayed on 2.5 for I think 3 months. I was also 3 months on 10, and the other doses, I don't specifically remember how long I stayed on them. But the way that I decided if it's time to move on is, am I feeling the effects? Am I still hungry? Am I still able to lose weight? How are my side effects? And my doctor totally agreed with that. The dosage, it's something that should align with how you feel when you take the drug. But my GLP-1 journey wasn't always the easiest. And I did go through some hurdles. And I want to share with you one of them that is a cautionary tale that I think everybody should know before starting this because I was really, really, really ill because of something that I did. And I didn't know that that was going to happen. So I want to share that with you. But before I share that with you, make sure to like and subscribe so you keep getting more content like this. I post about GLP-1s every week. I have videos on side effects. I have videos on how to get discounts, on my personal journey. I have videos on new drugs that are coming to the market. So make sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss out. So let's get into my horror story that I don't want you to go through. When I was on Mounjaro, I did experience a lot of constipation. It was, I think, a whole week without going to the bathroom. I got really scared. I did not want to go another day without going to the restroom, and I didn't want to have to go to the doctor to, be able to solve my problem. So I decided I had the brilliant idea to get a laxative. So I went on DoorDash because I was very lazy and I ordered some sort of like fiber digestive supplement. And it arrived and I took it. Nothing happened, right? Hours passed by, nothing happened. And I'm reading this thing and I'm like, well, this doesn't really act immediately. It can take days. So now I'm even more worried. I'm like, okay, I need to get a real laxative. So I go on DoorDash again and I ordered a laxative. I don't remember which one it was, but it was a real laxative. The kind that you take and an hour later you're screaming on the throne. An hour later, nothing happened. But then 2 hours later, I was violently ill. I was vomiting. I don't need to share all the details. Let's say that everything came out of everywhere. And I could not stand the feeling. It was like so sickening. I had a party to go to that night, and it was a party that I look forward to every year. It was my friend Rachel's Diwali that she throws every year, and she's an amazing chef. She makes the best food, and I could not go. But I was so sick that every 2 minutes I'm going to the bathroom. And I'm telling my husband, I think I'm gonna die. It was not just like, oh, it's a little barf here. It was projectile vomiting. And we had to call a doctor because my husband is like, I can't even take you to the hospital. You're not gonna make it. In the car, you're gonna have to relieve yourself because it wouldn't go 5 minutes without me going to the bathroom for something. So we called the doctor. The doctor said, as long as you can drink water, don't worry about eating. Just wait until your body pushes this out. Make sure that you're taking electrolytes and you're drinking water, and you can go even like a couple of days without eating. You're going to be fine. This is just a reaction. And what happened was that since the GLP-1 slows your digestion, it slowed down the absorption of the two medications that I took, and they all acted together all at once. And it prolonged that for hours, all night long. What I do now to avoid constipation, and this is something I learned the hard way, you should start doing that before you need. If you don't have the constipation, just do it. Just do it because you're going to avoid a pain in the future. I take Benefiber, soluble fiber. I'm going to put the link in the description. It's not expensive. It's good for you. Fiber is good for you anyways. So even though I eat a lot of vegetables, I eat a lot of fiber, I add that just to make sure that it's enough that I can go to the bathroom and I'm not going to have to go through that all over again. And in the subject of supplements, I have some other stuff that I take that helps with my side effects. And my biggest side effect is acid reflux. I'm going to put down here in the description. I have some things I take for that. Basically, I take this apple cider vinegar shot. It's great for your stomach. It's great for everything. And I also take Tums when I eat pizza. Now I want to touch on how my weight loss progression went through these 10 months. People get really worried when they stop losing weight. They think that the weight stall is that the medication is not working and something's wrong. Well, there could be something wrong. It could be something that you're doing. Maybe you're not eating the right things. But I realized that it's very common that 1 month I would lose a ton of weight and in another month I wouldn't. Also, very common that in 1 week I would take a shot and not feel it. And then in another week, I would take a shot and I would feel it very intensely. I think that every week is a little different. I think that it's based on what you're doing, what you're eating. I'm not really sure why some weeks I lost weight and some other weeks I didn't. Some weeks I'm extra hungry and other weeks I'm just like, well, the drug is working. And it's funny because it would be like this week, not really feeling the effect of the drug. And then I'm starting to think, okay, I think it's time to up my dose. But then the following week, I feel it. If you're going through that, that's common. I did some research online. Other people go through that too. Sometimes your body just, it just goes like this. It takes a while. And for some people, it could take months before they start losing weight significantly. For me, 2.5 was enough to lose a ton of weight. But for some people, they have to go to the max dose. So don't get disencouraged if it's taking you a while. And before I forget, I know there will be people asking, I'd like to take my shots in the morning. I like to take them on the weekends. The reason why I do that is because in the morning, it's easier for me to remember. Some people like to take it at night because then they can avoid those first side effects. They can just sleep through it. I actually have a video about morning versus night, which one to choose, and I'm going to put that somewhere up here. For me, morning is best and the weekends are best because then the weekends are usually when I want to eat something that I shouldn't. So if I take my shot on a Monday, by Friday, the effects of the shot are not super intense anymore. So I will still have that desire sometimes to eat something that's out of my diet. If you have questions about what should your schedule look like, when you should take it, just make sure to watch that video. I point out everything that I took into consideration to make that decision. If you have any questions about my journey, about anything related to Zepbound, GLP-1s, or anything, just drop that in the comments. I always answer the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe so you keep getting more content like this, and I'll see you when I learn some new stuff.